I've built my philosophy on a certain prayer that I'm going to share with you right now. I've built it on it. I've built my philosophy of life on this prayer for the last year and a half. And it's the serenity prayer. And for those who don't know what serenity is, it's peace, it's calmness, it's tranquility, right? And so I didn't do the whole prayer. The whole prayer is pretty long. I just do the top portion of it. And it says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Now, the reason this is such a powerful prayer is you look at life, you look at what you can control and what you can't control. And in another video, I said that we make up 10% of our life. And out of that 10%, we're only in control of 5%. That means the other 5% includes our brains, which we didn't choose, our bodies, which we didn't choose, our upbringing, right? Our subconscious programming, right? We didn't choose any of that. And then the 90%, holy cow, that's everything. I didn't choose my family. I didn't choose my siblings. I didn't choose where I was born, what country I was born in, what city I was born in, what house I was born in. You know, I didn't choose any of that. No one did. We're all just kind of thrown into this world like, hey, you know, good luck. Hope you do well. I mean, there is a manual, and we'll talk about that sometime. But it's just odd to think about it that way, right? And so there is so much that you cannot control. Let me rephrase that. There is so much that we cannot control, that no one can control, right? I can't control anyone in this world besides my reaction. So I can only control myself. And only 5% of that. Like I said, I didn't choose this body. Dude, I had heart surgery when I was 17 months old. I've got a pacemaker. Like that has messed with me physically and emotionally my entire life. And so building my philosophy on this prayer, it's really changed my life. It really has, because I look at something I can't control. Let's get political for a moment. Let's get political. You look at everything that's going on right now between the riots or the protests, right? You look at the election. You look at, the political the political environment right now. Like, everybody hates everyone. It's just like, what is happening? I would wake up every morning and look at the news, right, on social media or whatever, and I would get angry, and I was just getting angry. Every morning I would start my day like that. Like, that's not a very good way to start your day. It's like, hey, good morning. Smash your foot while you're at it. You know what I mean? Like, that's a good start to your morning too. And one day I just realized, it's like, I'm not in control of any of it. That's not my fight. I take care of what I can take care of. I take care of me and my reaction and my family and my part of being the best person I can be, but that's it. The rest of it, it's accepting what I have no control over it. And the reason that this is such a good philosophy of life is, let's look at anxiety, for example. Anxiety is trying to control the things you can't control. And then you stay up all night worrying about them. You're not in control. Absolutely not. And you have to let it go. Whether you want to or not, that doesn't matter. This is called radical acceptance. They teach it in something called dialectical behavioral therapy, and also known as DBT. But it's called radical acceptance. I don't like what's going on. I don't have to like what's going on, but I do have to accept it. At any point that you think you're in control, you're kind of living in denial, right? I mean, we all do that, right? Absolutely. We all do that. So I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that I don't do that, because I still struggle with it. And here's the thing. With this serenity prayer, with this philosophy, it's not about waking up in the morning and saying it and then going about my merry way, because that doesn't happen. It's every time I run into a problem, I have to look at it from a philosophical point of view of what am I in control of? What am I not in control of? And what do I do with what I'm in control of? And that's it. I mean, that is the bottom line. I've done this with my depression. I've struggled with depression for years. I remember as a kid, I'm not going to go too far into it, but I think I was like 7 or 8, and I felt, it was a feeling. I didn't know what it was, but it was like I was crying, and my parents were like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "I don't even know." And, you know, I blamed it on something else. And my parents got rid of whatever that was. And, but as life went on, I realized, like, I think depression is just something that I'm going to deal with. And so I can influence it to the best of my ability to get rid of it. But if it's always there, I didn't choose my brain. I didn't choose my biology. It's just something that I have to deal with. And so coming from that point of view, it's been so much easier, right? Like, there are things about me that I don't like. And within the past year, I just been saying, okay, whatever. I didn't choose it. It is what it is. There's nothing I can change about it. Obviously, certain things you can change, but the things you can't, okay, I can't change about it. I had a guy come in the other day. He's like, "Man, you're way taller than me," like comparing me to him. And I'm thinking to myself, like, you're saying that as though, no, I actually said it to him. I'm like, you say that as though I chose this. And we both kind of chuckled, and then we talked about that later. But truth is, I didn't choose my height. Dude, I'm 6'4", or 6'3.5", or whatever. Like, that's a cool height to be at. Like, luck of the draw, or just how God wanted me, however you want to look at it. Like, I'm happy with that. Sure, I'll take it. But I didn't control it. I didn't choose it. I don't remember choosing it, right? So, accepting what is, that radical acceptance, saying it is what it is. I have no control over it. The weird thing is this. Oh man, let's get real philosophical for a minute. The weird thing is this. One of the scariest things, like, this helps a lot with anxiety, right? The serenity prayer. Anytime you're feeling anxious, you start reciting this to yourself and you feel it. You try and feel what it is to let go of things, right? Where was I going with all this? Oh, yes. So anxiety. Anxiety is a survival mechanism. It's not a bad thing. What happens is when it gets stuck on go, now it's a bad thing. Now it's like, I can't control this. I can't get off the gas, right? So the one thing we are scared to death of is death itself. We are scared our whole life of that. I think it's the #1 fear in life for probably every American, but I believe it's #1 in America. I'm sorry, for every human, I think that's the #1. But in America, I believe it is ranked at #1. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen. That's a weird thought, right? The thing we spend our entire life trying to avoid happens anyway. Okay, I digress. Whatever that word means. I don't even know what that word means. I just hear people say it. So you look at it. You look at this prayer. Use it as a philosophy. And if you don't believe in God, that's, you know, that's where you are. And that's okay. But use this as a philosophy. Use it as a tool to help you, you know, defeat your depression, overcome your anxiety, you know, lower your anger or resentment or whatever it is, right? I mean, I had a friend of 26 years. 26 years we were friends, right? I'm not going to go too far into detail about it, but we were best friends for 26 years. One day up and left and wouldn't answer any of my phone calls. I felt so lost, so abandoned, so hurt. And I realized one day, you know, and this is where forgiveness comes in. I'm not going to go into forgiveness. I'm going to talk about that at a later time. But there was acceptance of, I'm not in control of it. I just have to let that go. It is what it is. So here's a weird thought to have, right? Murphy's Law, right? Whatever can happen will happen. And which is 100% true, really, if you think about it. The only things that are happening are the things that can happen. So whatever is happening in your life right now is really the only thing that could have happened to get you to this point. It's the only thing. And we should on ourselves, right? Don't should on yourself. It's like, oh, I should have done this, or I should have done that, or it could have been this way. Like I think, like I could have had a normal heart, right? No, I couldn't have. Because if I could have, I would have, right? It would have happened, but it didn't. So accepting reality for what it is, that radical acceptance, right? So I talked to my mom this morning, and she recited a poem to me. She just recited it. I don't even know if she was reading it or if she just keeps that in the back of her, brain and living off of that as I do with, the Serenity Prayer. But I wrote down the first line of what she said. She said, in acceptance lieth peace. There's some peace to letting it go. There really is. You're not in control of it. It's not your fight. It isn't. And you can just let it go. Whatever it is. As long as you've got the wisdom, right? As long as you realize, like, you're right, I have no control. If you do have control over it, there's probably something you need to change about yourself. And that's okay. We're all on this journey. Like, I've never lived before, right? Have you? This is my first time being 37. Holy cow. Like, I don't know what else to expect. There are a lot of things happening. My knees are starting to hurt. You know what I mean? My back hurts when I wake up. I didn't expect that. My dad used to tell me, and I'm like, whatever. I was a young, dumb kid, didn't know what I was talking about. Now I'm just like, oh, my back hurts, right? First time living, as far as I know, right? And and we don't know what to expect. We don't know what's going, that's the thing. We don't know what's going to happen. Life's going to do whatever it does. We can influence it, but we don't know what our influence is going to do. There's one key plan, and we don't know what it is. It's not, it's not written out for us. So, Serenity Prayer, God, grant me the serenity, grant me the peace to accept everything around me that I can't control. And that's a big one, right? My first Facebook post this year was accepting the things you can't control, and then we got hit with COVID. And then we need the courage to change the things that we can control. We need the courage to change ourselves. It's not easy. And I'm going to make another video about that, but I'm not going there yet. And the wisdom to know the difference. So, tell me, what do you think? What do you need to let go of in your life? What do you need to stop thinking about that's causing anxiety or causing the depression or the anger, the resentment, right? What do you need to let go of because you have no control over it? And then, what do you need to help change? What do you need to change about who you are to better yourself in your life? So tell me what you think.